story on the road in the postseason for Golden State. A lot of points. The offense primed with ball movement. But who will be on the floor, Dr. Kerr?
I think everyone needs to slow down a little bit with Kevin. He hasn't even stepped on the floor yet. We've tried to remain somewhat vague, but I think in doing so, maybe people have gotten the idea that he's going to come back. It'll be Willis Reed or something. DeMarcus probably similar. He hasn't had any live stuff on the court yet. The guy hasn't even seen any live action. The day before the first game of the series, it's tough to see that turning around quickly. So, as I said, for both guys, it's not like anything's imminent.
Well, the cheat code Boogie Cousins still not ready. Kevin Durant maybe well longer than game one, which means that this Steph Curry that showed up in the second half, that guy with a couple of MVPs who's won multiple championships, 33 points in the second half, was so brilliant, Coach. It was one of the better performances we've seen really in it late in a playoff game with that kind of adversity. Break down what you saw on the floor from Steph.
Well, one thing that he and I had in common is I also had 0 points and a half of basketball. I
was going to say athleticism, handle, looks.
I was shut out an awful lot of time. But imagine going from being blanked in the first half to suddenly get it going in the third quarter. Let me show you a couple plays that he wound up with the attack mode. Watch the ball moves around a little bit, but eventually they will screen away and get Curry coming around. And the first step is so explosive as he puts it on the floor and then sees the opening and just goes in the attack mode right at the front of the rim. Watch the first step again, gets the switch that he wants to. They try to come back to him, but he crosses over and again blows by the defender. It's the first step all the time. Are they going to stay or switch? They got confused. He didn't. He finishes with another floater in the front of the rim. So you go from 0 to 10 points in the third quarter to 23 more in the fourth quarter.
And we don't have enough time to talk about what wasn't happening from Capella and James and others that will not be filmed. Mike D'Antoni wants to show in the paint once he got in there. We do know this. Different story, though, maybe in the paint here, which to me is a fascinating thing because the guards, right, they're going to score a lot of points. If Durant's not on the floor, what happens with the rest of the team? And the offensive rebounds were a huge story for Golden State in that game. Seemingly Looney and players like him grabbing every single one they had. How much do you think maybe not so much an advantage for Golden State with Cantor and Aminu and some of the other big bodies that will be thrown at him in this series?
Well, I thought hitting the offensive glass against Houston was optimal for them because it gave Golden State extra possessions with a scrambling defense. Now they couldn't lock in on Curry and Clay. And a lot of times when they got those offensive rebounds, those were extra opportunities for their guys that they wanted to get those shots. So if they can continue that effort on the glass without Durant against a good rebounding Portland team, then they'll open up some of those extra opportunities.
Coach, rotations obviously are what they are, and then you have to adjust. This was not supposed to be the plan without Kevin Durant. We saw them maximize. And look, Livingston did not have a double-digit game since January 16th. He put up 11. Jordan Bell hadn't played in a while. But now you got a whole series possibly to worry about. What can Steve Kerr do? What do you expect in terms of what guys need to come up bigger than they have in a while on the bench end of things?
I would think that Steve Kerr would try to take advantage of situations. For example, if Cantor's in the starting lineup once again, you immediately put Cantor into that pick and roll situation with Curry. Are they going to switch? Are they going to come out and trap with Cantor? Because if they switch, Cantor on Curry, that's not a good thing for Portland right there. We saw a little while ago how he has the ability to just blow by when people switch on him. And then they cause confusion with the defense because after you get burned a couple times, then the guys say, no, let's not switch anymore. I'll stay with mine. And then all of a sudden, two go to the one guy. Nobody's playing. The other guy's stepping back. So I would think you'll see early attacks on the mismatches that Steve Kerr feels he has.
If you're big into, which I know these guys are, and certainly I think most of us are, compete level, hard to grade better than Clay. I mean, I know sometimes it may be, he went into the Avengers, watched a little bit, decided to leave, didn't like the plot. That's fine because the way he plays on the court, pretty darn good. And it's the defense, too, which is going to be key in this series because he got after the challenge on James. He's going to have one, as you see here, matching up with Lillard a lot in this series.
Clay will be matched up with Lillard. He'll spend other times he'll be on McCollum. He will have his hands full. But what he cannot do is come out not aggressive, not assertive on the offensive end, because sometimes, as you know, a scorer like myself, your best defense is your offense. And so if he can make Dame Lillard work, make C.J. McCollum work on that end of the floor, he may wear him down a little bit, and then that's less work he'll have to do on the defensive end.
One thing quickly to watch, the game against the Rockets, Steph, they can't get into foul trouble like he did. Rockets didn't take advantage. They will, this team with these guards, go at him and force him with those 3-4 fouls to be in spots he doesn't want to be in. You get them off the floor, all of a sudden, trouble. Perhaps emotion in its rawest form. We'll talk about what happened with Joel and the Sixers next.
We haven't even played well yet, and everything is going to work out.
I think as we settled in, we understood that it's a really long game. They were at home, and if we can get the game close, we felt like they would tighten up.
McCollum lost it, got it back. Ball was deflected, gets it back, and nails the jumper. C.J. McCollum, 19 points here early in the third. Harris, again, a very good defender. McCollum gets away from him. Scoop layup, up, shot's good. Oh, gorgeous move from C.J. McCollum. 5-point game. A brilliant performance from C.J. McCollum. He's got 25.
I thought the game opened up a lot because of what C.J. was doing. Getting downhill, getting into the paint.
He was battling all day, and that was just a dude doing whatever it took.
He wanted the ball, and he has the ability to make things happen with it.
6 to shoot. McCollum throws it up off the glass and banks it home. He's unstoppable right now. And the first lead of the game for the Portland Trailblazers, led by the sizzling C.J. McCollum.
On a night where Dame struggled shooting the ball, C.J. came up big.
I just tried to focus on, making the right plays. C.J. had it going, and I think when I see him in that type of zone, I'm not going to shy away from the game. I'm going to still be involved in the game.
McCollum jumper. It's good. C.J. McCollum does it again. He's got 35. 8 to shoot. McCollum a drive. Pushback jumper. It's good. C.J. McCollum with 37.
C.J. McCollum showed why they have one of the best backcourts in the NBA. He put his team on his back and made big play after big play.
I think I played pretty well. I wanted to empty the clip tonight, and I thought I did that.
Give Portland a ton of credit because not only in this game, but where they bounced back down 17 at one point on the road, and they had not played well at all really on the road, but this is a team that's really, that was the microcosm, guys, of their season, is backs against the wall, Nurkic goes down, this can't happen, that can't happen, and then they found a way consistently. Coach, we already knew X about that guard tandem and how great they were. But what did you learn about them even maybe beyond that in the fortitude they've shown the last couple of weeks and then that they showed to go win that Game 7 on the road?
Well, isn't it going to be exciting to watch these two backcourts? I mean, if you combine their field goal attempts, they're probably going to average 120 field goal attempts between both starting backcourts. But let's go back to the beginning of the year, in the offseason. How about the whispers about this guard to some not good enough to get him to where they want to go to? Maybe it's best to break him up and trade one of them away and see what you can get for him. But they didn't do that. They stayed with it. They knew what they had. They realized that last year it was a fluke. It was an accident. Whatever took place there, that wasn't going to happen again. And because of that, they went with development. They went with these guys stepping it up a little bit. And I think the biggest thing to me was how one was willing to back off if he saw the other one had it going that particular night. It wasn't competitive. It was rooting for the other guy to take over for me. I'm having an off night. You do it tonight. That was the great thing to see.
Which, by the way, Coach, is rare, yet the one other team seemingly that has guards like that, they're about to play, who have had, that exact kind of a thing. The other thing is, and we were talking about this on set, this is really important to bring up, is Nurkic goes down. It's the one thing we've said being here for years. Every game Portland plays. Look, the two scorers at the top of the guards. Where's the third guy? Then Nurkic becomes that guy. He goes. the toughness that Cantor has shown, and to me, I mean, we've seen him clutch his back. Who knows what he's doing to even get out there, has set such a tone. Harkless has had a big game. Rodney Hood had that huge game in that fourth overtime where he comes out. Evan Turner was big in Game 7 yesterday. Their supporting cast, which everybody kind of beat on, I think, really all year, even with Nurkic, has really stepped up, Jet.
Their supporting cast has been phenomenal in these playoffs. No more evident than in Game 7. Terry Stotts not scared in the biggest game of that franchise's history to go out and make a change in the lineup at halftime in Game 7 was tremendous, and they delivered. Collins, Turner, Cantor, Curry, Hood. These guys are the unsung heroes of the Portland Trailblazers. They're tough. They play defense. They hit untimely shots. They just play the game the right way. And when you have core guys that are role players that play their role and they star in it, then you have a key to success. They got one of the best backcourts in the league. We know that's going to be a great matchup. But the key for Portland to win is to get those contributions from those guys I just named. And if they can do so, you may see Chuck Barkley's come true, right? He said Portland Trailblazers are going to the finals this year. And, man, I don't know if I'm going to be able to.
He also did say that the Warriors wouldn't win a series without Kevin Durant against anyone. And then,
I don't know.
And then a funny thing happened, 33 points in the second half for that other Curry. By the way, the parents, cover your eyes at every moment. Root for them both to score a lot of points. Steffortless indeed. But what about if there's no KD for Game 1 and then some?